Unfortunately, no. This is not a sequel to Almost Famous. In Stillwater, Matt Damon is an oil rig worker from Oklahoma, and he goes to France because his daughter is in prison. She's already been in prison for 5 years, played by Abigail Breslin. She was convicted of murdering her girlfriend in her apartment, and she says she's innocent. Matt Damon believes her, and after 5 years, he decides to kind of follow leads here and there, make his own investigation. That's how it was marketed. This movie is not that. I'm going to keep this review short, unlike the movie. The pacing in this movie is all over the place. The first hour is like it's how it was marketed. It's like an investigative thriller almost. And then it transitions into this very quiet romance. And then it transitions into a very dark thriller. This wouldn't be a problem, except it's 2.5 hours long, and there's easily 20 minutes in each act that could have been like thrown out. That's what keeps this movie from being great. Matt Damon's performance is fantastic. This is easily his best role. It's one of those roles where halfway through the movie you forget that it's Matt Damon. You forget that it's the guy who wrote Good Will Hunting and he's lost his Boston accent and replaced it with a Southern one. He's fantastic in this. Abigail Breslin is also just as good, and all of the French actors and actresses are wonderful. Tom McCarthy has directed great performances in this movie. Because of the pacing, the ending is just such a punch in the face in a good way. It doesn't feel as painful because you just sat there for 2.5 hours that, again, easily 30 minutes, 40 minutes could have been trimmed out. There's also a lot of weird plot holes near the ending. Once it turns into a thriller, you're kind of thrown for a loop, and then I guess you're supposed to throw out your sense of realism because it makes no sense what happens. But again, the performances are spectacular. Matt Damon's probably going to get nominated for at least a Golden Globe or whatever, unless Matt Damon keeps saying really dumb things. And the story is very cute in like the middle area. It turns into like a romance almost, and that romance area is very cute, but it's just so weird because it came before a mystery, and then it transitions into a very dark thriller, and you're just wondering like, wait, what happened to that? What happened to the cute girl, like with Matt Damon and them going on dates and stuff? What's going on? I had a hard time coming up with a rating for this one because the performances are so wonderful and the parts that are good are great. It's just, there's so much of this movie that could have been cut out. 7.5, Matt Damon's going, "You speak English? Do you speak English? You speak English?" He says that probably 50 times. It's hilarious. But for the performances alone, go see this movie. And the ending, I'm still thinking about the ending because it was, it's rough. It's a rough ending, but it's one of those where you keep thinking about it afterwards, like, man, I'm sad now.